Morning. Gonna turn on my fireplace. Create just the right ambiance. It's weird, I don't feel, just gotta sneeze. There's some days I feel super active mind and feel like I need to talk or had stuff to get off my chest. Almost couldn't like sit still if I didn't, I don't know, express something I was thinking. And then there's some days where I feel like down and I'm almost like ashamed of how I feel and want to keep it, you know, keep the show lighthearted or spirited or fun or friendly or whatever. And I don't want to talk. Then there's days like today where I feel so quiet. That I wonder if I'd be better off not talking and just kind of quietly sipping my coffee and staring at the fire maybe and just get my day started that way. Not sure. Sometimes doing the show's easy, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's like today where I wonder if I'd be better off just kind of going with a quiet mind and enjoying riding that quiet mind, because that's a good feeling. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Mason. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, is that Biff? See, I read some of the comments, and like Nancy goes, "Good morning, I can't sleep either," and I go, "Well, that's not what I'm dealing with." And Biff said, "You got to hit the gym early." I'm doing legs; it helps. I don't need any help. I'm waking up. I don't need to hit the gym, and it's not that I can't sleep. And maybe it's my fault for doing this show. But again, I'm waking up with a quiet mind. And maybe don't want to open myself up to every thought that's going through everyone's head. You know? It helps you hit the gym. What helps you hit the gym? You know? What helps you? And again, I guess I don't care what helps you, because I don't even know who you are. So I wonder, do I want to expose my mind to the first thing in the morning, what's good for Biff? Or that 55's on the treadmill? You know, and maybe I shouldn't do this anymore because, yeah. Because sometimes I just want to, maybe I should just shut off the comments, because personally, I don't care that 55's on the treadmill or Biff hits the gym early. You know? And maybe I would have been better off just chilling out, enjoying my coffee, and watching the fire. Not that it's not swell that 55's on the treadmill or Biff's, but again, I'm going, I guess it's maybe proving my point. I'm going, do I care? You know, I do this show hopefully I had something to say for a while, and maybe I still do, but maybe I'd be better off. And again, I think you got to take care of yourself, and maybe doing this show has always been about me still trying to save the world or make a difference in ways that I don't need to, because I just need to take care of myself and my kids. And if you guys want to drink alcohol or struggle mentally or go through divorce or have financial lows or be on the treadmill or what have you, yeah, maybe that's not my issues to handle. Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe I don't want to have coffee in the morning with 700 people or 40 people or 29 people or a huge number of people always. You know, like I see Rich Sternical hopped on. It'd be nice to maybe be chilling out with Rich at a coffee shop where we're both staring out the window sipping our coffee and there's some companionship. And it's not like Rich and I are that close, but if you know what I mean, versus any human being that wants to hop on and say anything. And to expose yourself to that might be more than I care to do. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Cast Blast. And I've done it so long, so it's kind of a habit. I don't know if you know what I mean. I'm waking up, I'm having a quiet mind, and some guy hops on and says, "You got to hit the gym early. I'm doing legs today. It helps." You know what I mean? So you could ignore it, but I'm going, what does it help with? What does it help? You know? Again, I think that's kind of advice. What is he trying to help? What is it that he is trying to fix? But what I'm saying is I feel really good this morning. I'm waking up feeling quiet. And I think that's what I strive for. And opening up yourself to thoughts of people doing their things is just the, you know. Yeah, I mean, I could have stayed in bed. But I said, well, let's get up, let's get the show done, let's see if there's any assignments available for substitute teaching. FaceTime my little ones at 6:30. Maybe I would have been better off just sitting in bed. And again, I want to do this show if it's good for me and good for other people. And maybe I can pick and choose the days I do it. Yeah. But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Wednesday morning. It is 5:37. It is January 14th. Happy Wednesday. Coffee with Ken is a show, I better put my cup down. It's a show I've done for quite some time. It is a show about me talking. It is a show about me sharing some feelings, kind of sharing some ups and downs we have in life, kind of sharing the adventure that is life. But for those that have been watching a while, you know it is not just a show about me talking. You know it is also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. Looks like I've got a little bit of a powder out there, a little snow. If anybody from Australia is out there, just a little dusting. It looks snowier than it is. Again, it's just a little layer of snow on the parking lot and the streets in the downtown area of Appleton, Wisconsin. But anyway, as I was saying, you know it's also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And with that in mind, I've got a nice hot cup of coffee in front of me, and I am so excited. You know, I don't even know if I'm that excited, although it's a new flavor. So, not a new flavor, a new old flavor. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, would have been just as off just laying in bed, just going, but I'm excited to have my first sip. My hope is wherever you are and whatever you're doing, that you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. It is the sea salt toffee coffee by Seattle's Best. Again, I don't know if I like it for the flavor or the name, but it's fun to say sea salt toffee coffee. Minnesota neighbor. I think it'd be hard for me living in Australia and never seeing snow. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite weather, it might be snow. You know, sure, 80 degrees and sunny is nice, but and a nice fall day, cool, crisp fall day is nice. But snow itself, when it's snowing, I don't know, there's something cool. Yeah, I know if you're driving, you know, it causes slippery roads and what have you, or traffic delays. But yeah, I've got no desire to live where it's warm year round. Would I rather become Jew or Iranian? I don't really understand what that means. Yeah, no, I don't really understand what that means. Somebody asked, would I rather become Jew or Iranian? I don't want to become either. I'm cool with who I am. Speaking of that, I started reading the New Testament the other day, and it's almost such a light and easy read. I started reading the Old Testament 4 months ago and really didn't enjoy it at all. and don't get me started. But I felt it was good to do live because I felt a lot of people had never heard the words of the Old Testament live, uh, or actually listened to. So I thought, okay, well, these people probably haven't read this book either. So I'll read it and they won't have to, and we'll go through it together. But I found the net result of reading it was vastly negative on me. I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel good or spiritual or holy or have greater faith in any way. So a few days ago, I said, to heck with this. I mean, during my show about 4 days ago, my nighttime reading, I go, do you want me to keep going? Is this of any value to you? But anyway, I started reading from the New Testament a couple nights ago, and it's such an easier read. You like the book of Matthew, enjoy hearing you read. Well, thank you, Lori. Thank you. Let's see, what did Nancy say? Well, don't come to Louisiana. 2 temps, hot and hotter. It was 90 degrees for Christmas. Yeah, I got no desire for Louisiana. Nancy, hot and humid is, I think, yucky. But anyway. But yeah, read the first 4 books of Matthew over the last 2 days, and it was so easy. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm almost to the Sermon on the Mount. You know, that was season 3 or maybe 2 or 3 of Chosen. I'm not sure what the rest of the book's going to be about. I mean, honestly, I know there's the crucifixion and the rebirth and something. But I mean, it dives right in. And at least it feels like again, it almost felt, I talked about it a lot when I was reading the Old Testament. I didn't feel they were holy words at all. They were just endless words of boredom and butchery and slaughter. But when I'm reading from the New Testament, I almost feel I got to do it right and give it the appropriate reverence it's due. Because they're words I've heard or know of or what have you. I felt that a little in the Old Testament when I was reading the part about the 10 Commandments. I felt like I was God talking to Charlton Heston in the movie, Thou Shalt Not Kill. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the 10 Commandments. Oh. Does anyone know how long it exactly is? I'm in the United States, and we started using, I think, a strategy for education called No Child Left Behind. And I'm wondering how long that's been. Is that just a slogan, or is that an official policy? Does anyone know? But I'd be curious. And I wonder what the ramifications. I'll have people hop on and like extol the virtues of Chinese education in China or the housing market in China or more left-leaning political systems. And I'm betting most of the people that extol, if I'm using the words, the virtues of the Chinese educational system, they probably wouldn't like the reality of the Chinese educational system. Eddie Slap says he passed some classes he should have failed for sure. And I'm wondering if that's what's going on a little bit. It wasn't around when you went to the school in the 70s and 80s, but was that kind of just like, I don't know, like Nancy Reagan said, just say no to drugs, or it takes a village or something. Was that just a slogan, or is that an official policy? 55 said that policy ended a few years ago. Push to hold them back like they need to when they didn't do well enough. Is that what it was? So it's an official policy. All right. But I wonder what the ramifications are of school's still different than it was when most of us went to school. And I wonder what the ramifications are of it. 2001, the policy started, so it was an official policy. And what were the ideals behind that policies? That will let kids pass no matter what? Or was it, my son has Down syndrome? I kind of assumed it meant like they'll integrate the classes with kids with Down syndrome or special needs or what have you. Okay, somebody's saying due to Common Core. Okay, let's just ask this. I don't know how to ask it right. Do you think children in school should be allowed to be in class with their hoods up of a hoodie? I would say no. I would say no. And I think that's I think it's just somebody raising their hand saying they're going to have a bad attitude and they're not going to pay attention and they don't care to be in school. And I don't want to go too deep into this, I don't think. But I think there's somebody said most inner city high school kids couldn't read past fourth grade level. Today or back then? And I probably don't need to worry about fixing this either. Um, and again, I like the concept of my son who has Down syndrome being in a class with being integrated as much as possible. Jaws asked, ban the hoodie. But it's not just the hoodie, Jaws. I don't think it's just the hoodie. I don't know, when I went to school, and this is going to sound like such an old dude, I don't know. I mean, we had people that would mess off or screw off or not be good kids or whatever, including me probably at times. But I felt there was like ramifications for it or ability to get in trouble that I'm not sure if it exists in the school system today. Okay, somebody said there are kids nowadays with all kinds of issues, sensory anxiety. That hood, while not respectful to some, may be a child's comfort. Okay, Mike, but how important is the child's comfort versus the benefit of all? Yeah, the child's comfort, maybe he needs to be in a different class. And it's not just the hood that I'm talking about. Are we putting the needs of the very few above? I'll promise you this, they don't allow, and I didn't Google, they don't allow hoods up in classes in China. They probably don't allow purple hair or sleeping during class or feet up or bad attitudes. They probably don't integrate special needs kids in with a regular class. And I'm not saying we aspire to Chinese education. Richard Cernicle said COVID didn't help. Teachers phoned it in. It was horrible. Yeah, Biff says you have to wear a uniform in China. Coddling a student is BS at Expo. And I think that's what we have. And I don't mean just the hood. But okay, Mike said that it could be somebody's comfort. Yeah, well, you know, again, I wonder, and I feel for the teachers that are dealing with kids that maybe have no desire to be there. And I wonder if it's going to negatively impact the kids that do. Mike's talking about it being their right and whatever. But maybe their right isn't what I'm talking about here. You know, I also, if it's written in the law that you can bring a dog into a restaurant because you like petting your dog and it makes you comfortable, I still think it's wrong. And maybe the same attitude goes on in schools where we're saying, well, kids can wear a hood up or sleep during class or whatever. Yeah. And I think it's the same attitude that allows dogs into grocery stores and restaurants because it's their comfort. And you're going, well, it's grotesque. And I think the same thing goes true in schools, and it's probably making it I'm just guessing whether it's their right or not. I don't think it's working or helping. I mean, how many kids, what percentage of kids that go to school have IEPs these days? I guess maybe that stands for Individualized Educational Program. And again, my son who has Down syndrome has one. But it's not just the kids with Down syndrome, it's Mike was saying, yeah, how many, let somebody Google it, what percentage of kids have I guess having individualized educational programs for every kid is really going to screw it up. And I'm not saying this is the strategy, but China probably just has those kids working out in rice paddies. So before we throw out the Chinese educational system as this model that we're striving for, realize that the way that China plays the game is not the way the US plays the game. Okay, Expo says, here in California, the schools got federal money based on how many kids showed up for class. They didn't care if you did the work. I guess that's what I'm wondering. Kids with learning disabilities have IEPs too. It's very common. Well, I'm not sure what that means, learning disabilities. 10 to 12% of the population. Okay. So in a typical class of 20, you're gonna have 2 or 3 kids. And that seems about right. All right, let's just talk about it. What does that do for the costs of education in America? I'll bet it triples it or doubles it at least. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I guess what I'm saying is if you're gonna wear a hoodie in class, I just think it's beyond silly. Whether it makes you feel comfortable or not, yeah. Good morning, David. And I would think if you're a teacher and you don't have 2 to 3 kids with IEPs in your class, but you might have 3 or 4 or 5 even, you're gonna almost have no chance to keep the class in order and beneficial for all the kids. And again, I say this with a son with Down syndrome that realizes he's going to have special needs, and if he's going to be in a regular class, he's going to be a burden on the teacher or the school system. Somebody said there is a 70 to 30 requirement. I don't know what that means. Somebody wants me to tell a Republican congressperson. Tell them what? That kids shouldn't be able to wear hoodies in school, or they shouldn't be allowed to sleep in class. I guess not even. If I'm a kid going to school and I have no desire to be in class or to learn, I'm probably using the extra attention I'm getting if you have a kid in class that has no, if I'm a kid in class and I have no desire to learn, no matter the number of teachers I have swarming me, I'm not going to learn. And part of me wonders, is the best thing for me. The kid in class with no desire to learn, would I be better off not in school? Would it be better off for the educational system and for me? And at the end of the day, I mean, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, and I'm trying to talk about this as as appropriately as possible. But I wonder if the strains on the education system, the teachers, which leads to huger budgets, I wonder what the cost of education has gone up over the last 40 years. And I wonder if it's gotten better. And I'm guessing the expense, because I've had people hop on that each of these kids needs a paraprofessional in the room with them or what have you. And I'm not going to talk about my personal experience. And I think it's a really noble effort, but I'm not sure it's an effort worth being pursued. Rebecca Tilley says, you think it's important maybe to find out why they're falling asleep. They could have an unknown medical condition. I'm not sure if I'm worried about the teachers or the students or the benefits of all or the costs or all three. But I'd say if you have a couple extremely disruptive kids in class, it probably makes teaching it hard, teaching the class very challenging. Haven't graduated more recently than most people, but about a half decade ago, the education system has gone downhill and kids run rampant with no repercussions, taught to be wild and home, good at school. I coached in junior high a few years ago, track, and I ended up resigning because I yelled at a kid and called him a dumbass. But it was after, which I shouldn't have done, but it was after like weeks of begging the kids to run. I was there and trying to motivate them and trying to I don't know, they're on the track team. They should run. If they don't want to run, I'm going, maybe you shouldn't be on the track team. So either way, I was like motivating people that did not want to run. And I mean, it gets frustrating. And if you're a teacher and you're trying to motivate kids that just don't want to do a dang thing, it's going to get frustrating. And the hard thing, like with junior high for me and the track team, there was almost this warm feeling, hey, everybody climb on board, we'll all be in a sport. But they didn't actually want to do the sport. They wanted to participate in something, which I get the nobility of that. But when you get to high school, the kids that are on the cross country team run or they are kicked off the team. And that didn't seem like an option in junior high because we were welcoming everybody, even if they wanted to sit around and not participate. So I found that particularly challenging. And I can parallel that to the experience if you have a kid in school that just has no desire to be there and isn't going to not only follow along, but going to do their best to be a distraction. It's going to be challenging for the teacher and challenging, probably negatively impact the educational experience of those around them. In the 1980s, when you graduated middle school, during the summer, the high school track coaches came to my house and tried to recruit me because you were good. All right. My coffee's delicious this morning. It's Wednesday morning. Senior high school and into college, it was either put on or you're out the team. Somebody's doing football for the. In high school, again, my point was I was trying to coach kids that just didn't want to run but wanted to show up and talk with their friends. And I get it, running's not that fun, but it's kind of what you sign up for when you join the cross country and track team. So I was going, come on, please. And I couldn't motivate them because they just didn't want to be there. And I wonder if the educational system's that way a little bit too, where you're going, hey, break out your books. And there's no repercussions for bad behavior. And I'm not sure if I have any thoughts, like great solutions for it, but I have questions for sure. And my questions are coming from a guy that's been substitute teaching a lot lately and inside the school in ways that I've never been before. And feeling, I don't know who I'm feeling for, the kids that need the extra attention. I mean, believe me, I want to help the kids that need the extra attention, but for the kids that just don't want to be there. And I opened with wearing a hoodie. Personally, I think if a kid walks into class with his hoodie up and expects to be in class with their hoodie, they got their hand up saying they don't want to be there. And maybe we shouldn't require them to be there. I guess maybe that's what I'm going with. If, you don't want to be here, there's the door. I think there's frustration amongst teachers. And But I mean, maybe there always was, and maybe they were always whispering about kids. And I wasn't that bad of a kid, but I like to pretend I was. But I mean, I was certainly a little bit. I mean, I was probably a decent kid. I mean, I, I was a normal kid that maybe didn't love school and got into a little trouble, but not that much. But I feel there's some kids that don't want to be there at all. And I'm wondering maybe we shouldn't require them to be. 55 said it would take too long to explain, but you can look up Senate Bill 100. It will explain discipline expectations. But if I got to look up Senate Bill 100 to have a talk about, what's right and wrong in the classroom, and maybe Senate Bill 100 isn't what's right and wrong in the classroom. As a matter of fact, just the name of it, Senate Bill 100, makes me think it's not right and wrong in the classroom. It's made by policymakers that are, I don't know. Yeah. Nancy said it's a nightmare for most teachers today. I don't. Again, I've been with teachers, and they're not. They don't seem to dislike or hate their jobs or anything like that. Peter Bean said, it's the teacher's job and expertise to motivate the unmotivated, not say goodbye to the fourth grader to the streets. Peter, I don't know if it's the teacher's job to motivate the unmotivated. Yeah, I don't know if it's the teacher's job to motivate the unmotivated. If anybody, I'd say it's the parents' job to get the kids a little better prepared to go to school. To expect a teacher who doesn't know these kids and to yeah. Somebody said, personally, I feel if a child doesn't want to go through school, they should at least have a plan or a dream that they can have education oriented towards, although that requires specialization. Somebody said if they were a teacher, you'd tell those kids, if you don't want to be here, get out. Yeah, I mean, I would too. I would too. And they should have to go home and tell their parents that they didn't want to be in school today and face parental discipline and have to come back the next day dressed appropriately and apologize to the teacher and come in with a better attitude. That's what I think should happen. But if the parents are going to send these kids off to school, and expect the teachers to work miracles, I wonder if the open seating concept is good, or the tables that they work at, or should they be at desks like when we were kids? Garrett says, if you don't want to be there, that's your own life. But at what age again, I guess I don't know what the answer is, but I just led off this conversation talking about, I promise you, China does it differently than the United States does. And I think I've had people hop on that might like the systems that they might pretend they like the systems that are going on in China, uh, but they really wouldn't like it if they knew what went on. And yeah. Will says the children are almost never the problem. Parents, on the other hand, okay, but parents are just big children. You know, parents are children that are older now. Schadenfruit says, due to the litigious ways of today, teachers can't discipline change behaviors perceived disrespectful. You're genuinely shocked. You're going to tell me what specifically you were shocked about, that you stumbled on my video? Were you shocked in a good way? Or were you horrified by my bald head, my political opinions, my misogynist demeanor? Yeah. And I mean, I don't mind, but I was just thinking about it again, compared to the educational system in China versus what we have here in the States, and going, wow, they probably have it a lot different over there. Will said, that's my point. They never learned how to operate successfully on their own, and the children are the recipients of the same programming. I am getting viral on Instagram. You did not even know that I had Instagram Reels. Yeah. I don't know why my Instagram. By the way, my Instagram is a page that doesn't pay me at all. It's the one social media platform I don't get paid at all. And it's the one that grows the quickest. Dang it. You know what I mean? Some kids come from bad families. Mom is abusive and couldn't care less about their kids. And they were probably from that. But what's the solution? I guess what I'm saying is it's probably not a school system thing. It's a system thing. It's a parenting. It's a bigger problem than a teacher, certainly a substitute teacher, is possibly able to fix. And I don't know what the system is, but I was just walking to the gym yesterday going, wow, I hear people talk about Chinese education. I'm going, they probably don't deal with the stuff that teachers have to today in the U.S. Good morning. You're going to your work for 6th day in a row. You're ready to be off of work. Well, Garrett, I hope you enjoy this last day. Balderdash says our educational problems are very complex and there's no one size fits all. Yeah, but Balderdash, that's just a lot of stuff about nothing. I mean, what is the value of your comment there? What does that even mean? You're just going, well, it's complex. Every system's a little different. What does that even mean? I mean, I think there's almost no value to that comment, Balderdash. You're not saying anything. Oh, let me charge this up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Let me see. Teachers are good. Oh, yeah. global societal issue. Uh, let's see. Let's see. We should make all teachers have red hair and then we can hug them a lot of times and there won't be any bad guys in there. I mean, I don't know that teachers having red hair would solve anything. Taught them a lesson though. Gonna get a little more coffee. We got a glorious audience today. We got 60 people watching. We got 25 thumbs up. It is 6:23 in the morning. I am at this moment off today. There was no assignments for me to pick up this morning. I was hoping to actually substitute teach this morning. And despite, I think, the issues facing the educational system in the United States, I really do enjoy teaching. I'll tell you what, the last class of the day seems especially problematic. But again, I almost think that could be, we almost allow it to happen, that the kids emotionally check out because it's near the end of school and they don't have to learn at that time. Good morning, Julie Flanagan. How are you today? We got a glorious audience. We got 64 people watching. We got 25 thumbs up. It's 6:24 in the morning. I wonder if I can do something. Maybe I can. Oh, let me try something. Are you guys still there? Well, I'm super excited. I just picked up a teaching assignment for today. And I'm going to be teaching again, well, this feels good. See, I had nothing to do today. It was like going to be a day off. And I went to the app a moment ago and looked to see if there was any assignments that had been put up on the app, and there was one. There was a special ed class for little ones that had come up, and I picked it up just now, and I'm going to be working with like 4-year-old special ed kids, and I love doing that. And I get the, believe me, I don't honestly want to leave any kid behind, but I'm wondering if mixing the classes is always the best solution. And I feel if I'm teaching a class that's like today, that's a special ed class, I'm ready for it. And I go, okay, I'm going to have 6 kids in this room that are all going to have special needs and need special attention and all that. But when you put them in the main population and I'm trying to teach math to 15 kids and maintain some sense of order in the class, I'm not sure it's the right mix or if it makes sense. Yeah, and that's what I struggle with. Again, I just wonder if mixing the classes, and again, I have a son with Down syndrome. I'm wondering if a kid with Down syndrome, I think they want to learn though, and so they want to be in class, and I think Augie will want to be in class and want to participate. He'll obviously have challenges, but to have kids that you can communicate with that just seem to have no desire to be there, and I'm going, well, I don't know what to say. So I almost think mixing the classes is somewhat challenging, and I'm not sure it's best for the system. But I am excited. I wanted to, my very first day in Wisconsin, they have a grade level called 4K, and it's before kindergartner. I didn't know it. It was my very first day, and I hadn't gone back to this age level. And I'm going back today. I went from high school to junior high to third grade, and now I'm going to be in with 4-year-olds. Special ed 4-year-olds. So that feels good. But anyway, it is 6:28 in the morning, and I'm looking forward to my day. And I hope you're looking forward to your day as well. Hope you had a great start to your week. And I hope you are had a great night's sleep. You're enjoying your cup of coffee. AJ said, you think I'd make a good full-time teacher? What I'm hoping is that I continue to enjoy it. And one of the principals sees I'm doing a good job and says, hey, we'd like you here full-time. I think it's going to happen if it's meant to happen. Sometimes I wonder if I have the patience for it, because again, I get frustrated from time to time. I felt a couple times myself getting frustrated. Again, 4 years ago, I called a kid a dumbass at a track practice because I was so frustrated. I was going through a whole heck of a lot. And he probably was being a bit of a dumbass. But I wonder if my temperament's good for it. I think I can connect with kids and do a great job. But I'm not sure it's my path. But anyway, again, I want to thank you so much for joining. It is Wednesday morning. It's my 5th day in a row substitute teaching. I'll tell you this, a bit of a challenge, and I hate to bring up the finances, is this isn't enough for me to cover my bills. It's not supposed to. So I'm bartending and waiting as well. I'm going to need to find something higher hourly wage, because there's only so many hours in my day. And again, I need to keep healing my finances. And but one step at a time. And I'm going to take one step forward today, and I hope you do as well. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful week. I want to thank you so much for joining today. And hope you are feeling good. Hope you are loving yourself. I hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.